Hello and welcome everybody to New Earth Consciousness. Tanya here with Michelle Ferguson. She has written a couple books, one called A Love Like Ours. The other one is Grace, Grief, and Gratitude, A Journey to Resilience. Her website is C'est moi, French, Michelle Ferguson, c'est moi, michelleferguson.com. And today we're going to dive into her own personal healing journey, really going deep into gratitude, the theme of gratitude. So thank you so much, Michelle, for being here.
Thank you so much, Tanya. It's a pleasure, and I'm so grateful to be a guest in your podcast and share my story with your in your platform and with your audience.
Yeah, yeah. So share with the audience your story. You have a really remarkable story, a story of journeying through cancer, but not only you, but your husband as well at the same
Mhm.
time. And yeah, let's start there and how that changed you and your view of life.
It really, in a blink of an eye, my life changed. So my husband and I were diagnosed 6 months apart with cancer. So he was diagnosed in February of 2019, and in July of 2019, it was my turn. So it was also during COVID. So we made it a joke that we're literally in it together. Like it's really in sickness and in health, taking it at a different level. So that was really at before that, life, we have our plans and everything, and all of a sudden again it just changed in a blink of an eye. I practiced gratitude before, and he practiced also, but in a separate way. Like he did it on his own, I did it on my own. But with what COVID does and what cancer does, I call it double C, COVID and cancer.
Yeah.
It
Oh gosh.
like, sorry, I call it like C,
C
C,
squared.
C,
Yeah.
I really joke it around like because like like the power of C squared. So the power of C squared equals gratitude. So because we didn't let cancer take the best of us, in return we took cancer as a friend because we believe that the moment you wake up, you always have a choice of what your day is gonna be. Whether you could be grumpy or you could be, you could stay positive. And you don't get me wrong, we acknowledge those. Like we're not practicing gratitude is not always staying passive or being in la land. In
Hmm.
return for us, practicing gratitude is being present, acknowledging what is there, but don't dwell on it and focus on what we have instead of the time that we're limited because we have all our plans. We love to plans, like the map behind me where all the travels that we were together and we plan to go. So we have all these things planned out, and all of a sudden it's just like life takes you, like you have to stand still, you have to be present. So by taking cancer as a friend, even if it was during COVID, it never stopped us from traveling. So what I mean by that is that we reconstruct our travel to Argentina. So we have team nights dinner, and I shared it in the A Love Like Ours because it's like our memoir. So we have team dinner. We dance tango in our living room. We eat chorizo. We have Malbec. So it was these things that, and it brings us also like the fun that we had, but also help us that to cherish it and create more memories with each other, and it's more intentional. And with that, also, our love becomes more stronger. There's no stones left unturned. I talked in my book, In a Love Like Ours, how we create our own survival guide for each other. And what I mean by that, because when we all know that, and when your cancer is in front of you, and COVID, the six squared is in front of you,
Hmm.
we know that life, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. So we become intentional of the time that we spend together, and we want to make sure that if me or him goes first, we'll be okay. So the survival guide for me looks like, because we have the, like any married couple, right, or any partners that we've been together for 23 years. So we have this that, like, I'll do the inside of the house, I do the cleaning, I do the finance, he does all the outside, the cutting of the grass, preparing for spring and of the four seasons here.
Hmm.
For it's funny now, I'm talking about them laughing because it's winter and it's every weekend it snows here.
Hmm.
His his survival guide to me is that the first thing is how to open your garage door when we lost electricity. Because manually. So it's funny. It might be true because he did like any married couple can, like, you're set as to who's doing who. So I taught that in the book, like how to open. So 2 weeks after he died, we had a winter storm. I mean, not a blizzard. And it was really brutal that I had to go back to the. I look at the survival guide kit. I said, and I was reading out loud and laughing out loud and crying at the same time, like trying to, because it
Oh, wow.
was that. Yeah, and my survival guide to him, because I'm in finance and like how to balance a checkbook, because like God, you never know how to balance a checkbook. It's always me balancing how
Yeah.
to balance the checkbook, how many debt certificate he needs to order, because the original one, because banks need this, insurance needs this, broker checkout. And not only we did our survival guide separately, but we shared it. So it's so there's really no surprises. So so it's like, okay, because I don't, you're the one doing that, I have to make sure that I know how to do it. And making some videos, like there are some, like I really don't know how to do it, like how to turn, like the we have the lawnmower before, the riding lawnmower, and it takes a video on how to do it, so 'cause that I could retain it. So those are, so now I'm love, but those are the things that really, even though we had COVID, I mean, we had cancer and it was during COVID, it really brings out the best, and the most, the 2.5 years that I was taking care of him, that he had cancer, and I was also had my own surgery and battling my own cancer.
Mm.
We really become lit. I mean, I know it like I say, but our source of strength to each other, the love becomes stronger, and it was one of a kind.
Wow.
And and we and 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 we wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, don't get me wrong, the first couple of days when we were like, you have the anger, the thing, but we said, and
Yeah.
then Jerry would say like, hey, we're still alive, we still have each other, let's make the
Mm.
most out of it. So
Wow.
that's how it started, and that's how the first book, A Love Like Ours, said that, regardless of how difficult the situation is, how daunting it is, how hard it, how it cuts like a knife and it goes through your bones, that there's still something.
Wow. Man, it just makes me feel that what you experienced, I feel like a person when they're faced with that, that they could go either way. They could either stay in the anger and the fear and the sadness at the thought of losing someone, right? Because you're suddenly faced with mortality and knowing like, oh, this could end very soon.
Mm.
Um, but it sounds like you two flipped it into this like, okay, well, let's just live it up then, what do we got to lose? It sounds like.
Exactly, and you get it spot on, because we plan our trips. So we have this like three, and anyone that knows Jerry and I, we have 3 years, 5 years, 10 years planning, and where we want to go. And it's not like we travel extravagant, but it's really planning because we want to set money aside. We don't have kids, so that's really our gift for each other. We don't give each other extravagant gift. We're always going for the experience. And when we travel, we stay with the locals. We're not going to these fancy hotels, or so it's really emerging with the culture. So that's what we're doing. But there are times that we go for a trip because of my job, that I qualify, that I go into like more award kind of trip, and I earned one award. And it happened like a week before that he had a surgery, because his cancer was stage 4 esophageal cancer with brain mets. So there's two
Mm,
tumor on his brain, one on the left and one on the right. So they have to save the brain first before the cancer treatment goes, before the radiation and the chemotherapy and etc.
mm,
So when he had that surgery, the second surgery, 2 weeks after will be our scheduled trip from the firm that I own this award. So the doctor said that, oh, are you sure, Jerry, that you can travel? And Jerry said, Doc, you don't know my wife. If it's in the plan, we will go. We're all gonna die anyway. If I will die here in Cape Cod, or if I will die in France, I'd rather die in France, that I'm living life. So then the doctor would say, like, okay, like, Michelle, are you sure? Because due to the surgery and the cancer, he developed some blood clots. So he had to take a blood thinner, but his blood thinner at that time, it's an injection, it's Lovenox. So
Mm.
I, so I said, oh, I have to train you how to. I mean, I get crash course in nursing and ER, like how to how to inject the Lovenox and stuff. And I said, okay, but if in the plane, like we are flying economy, and I has to go to the bathroom. We cannot go to the bathroom together on the plane. So I okay, Jerry, now it's my turn. I have to take a video. So you have to do it yourself to inject. So but we really now I'm laughing about, but we never let it like we really travel. We really we sign a waiver, of course, and we take a little bit of insurance just in case something happened. But
Mm.
we never left anything what if because we really know that you're right. Like what would you have to lose? And
Mm.
you really said it right. It's I die today or I die in France. At least I die in France. My wife is happy. That's what it was.
Oh my gosh.
That
Wow.
was now it's funny, but when it was suddenly like okay.
Wow. Wow. So, so at some point, I guess, did the two of you, did neither of you know whether you were going to live or die?
Jerry, no, because him was stage 4 esophageal cancer
Yeah.
with that. So I he's more like we always joke it around sometimes when I can say like, oh, it's me that go first, or
Yeah.
it's him. And he said to me, well, Michelle, if we look at it as the medically speaking, I'm stage 4, you're stage 1A. So the chances are, but then I said, look, Jerry, there are so many, like look at Kobe Bryant, for instance, he was really good and everything, and he died. So a lot, that's why we did the survival. Okay, so we really said like, it could be, but he's more saying that he would go
Mm.
first. He was
Yeah.
really saying that, and when you said about Simoa being French,
Yeah.
so that was really the promise that I keep to myself and the promise that I keep to him. So why French? So throughout that cancer treatment and everything, on the first year, the second year of the cancer treatment, he said to me, Michelle, you have to find some distraction when I'm gone. And he was really more saying that it was him. So I said, what do you mean by that? So like, you need to find others that you really love, that will be occupied you in the long winter and everything. And you always love France. You started learning speaking French, you stop it. So why won't you do that? So
Mm.
he actually helped me find a French instructor online because it was during COVID and everything. And he
Mhm.
really made it promise to me that, and I talk it even in my book. And he said, really, like, you have to continue living. And if French is language can give you that sense of like, because I'm like objective, like my goal then is before I reach 50, I'll speak fluently in French, the same as my English. So
Mm.
that was kind of the promise that we have to each other. And I honor that promise. I celebrated my 50th birthday in France last year. I have the French version of A Love Like Ours. It took longer,
Oh,
but
wow.
it did. So and yeah, so it's and now I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was, but it was and I considered it a gift of Jerry that keeps on giving and continue because as I shared to you in our earlier conversation, Tanya, that when you become a widow, you also kind of reinventing yourself that no one prepared you because you
Yeah.
have a set of friends, right? And some of your friends are couples and some like you know them as a couple. And once and it's not fault of their own, it's just like the dynamics change and you lose some friends and you gain some friends. And learning French really opened other doors of friendship. I have an extended family now. I have a family that their kids call me Tata, that
Mm.
calling
Mm.
me on weekends. So it opens a different connection and opportunities also. And so it's as I said, like it's a gift that Jerry keeps on giving.
Yeah. What strikes me is that the two of you really chose to celebrate each moment and to create, what's the word? It's almost like you you wrote the story forward. You know what I mean? Like that you had these conversations of what would happen after he, leaves. his
Mhm.
body, and how would you, you know, what comes next. It's like the story didn't end to me. It seems like it continues. It continued.
It really does. And writing that book and finishing A Love Like Ours, it's really honoring what we have and also continuing forward. And writing, there's two reasons why I wrote the A Love Like Ours. First, it was really Jerry's original idea to write a book, and it triggered by when we were, I never left his side. So during all of his treatments and everything, I've always beside him. Even during the like the only time when during the surgery when I cannot, like I even work remotely in the hospital beside him and everything.
Mhm.
So in one of his and we love to document each other, like the platelets, what goes wrong on that day and everything. And I was writing down something while he was doing his chemo, and the nurse was asking like, oh, what is Michelle doing? And I said, well, I'm just documenting everything. And Jerry said, well, I always wanted to write a book and I need her to help me.
Mm.
So, and the nurse said, like, you know what, you should start writing because they call us like the cute cancer couple at the cancer
Oh,
center, the cute cancer, because
oh my gosh.
because now it's really, oh my gosh, because sometimes we go there with matching scar. I mean, not the
Yeah.
same scar, the color of the scar. Like I dress, it's really, oh my gosh, and we laugh out loud, like even like so. So I said you should write it because you were right. There are so many. It's not. Oh, well, what are the odds, right? First of all, what are the odds you're diagnosed 6 months apart, and then the second is that you are still laughing out loud. Like again, don't get us wrong. Like we cried, we have all these things. Like don't talk, like silence. Like you could hear the drop pins, but
Yeah.
at the end, because when we started date, I'm just gonna go back a little bit as to why behind it. We
Yeah.
come from different cultures, different Jerry's American, I'm Filipino American. I'm raised Catholic. Jerry is raised Baptist. So there's all these things, right? But one thing, we both come from a broken family. So we always made sure that um, it stops with us. And
Mm.
what it means by that is that we don't go to bed upset with each other, even if it means talking until 5 a.m., so be it, and go to work at 7:30. So that was really was in our DNA. So when we were diagnosed, we're like, okay, this is like we're not talking, and because we used to really talk, and it's not as in turn, but so that we really cannot. But then we ended up because when we were also like there are like there are some things, right, that sometimes when you said it, it's the way the delivery that might hurt your partner. So if we have things like that, we ended up writing in our post-its. I still have all these post-its, like it's a habit that's gone. So within that time, if there are some things that we find it hard to say, not because we cannot say it, but maybe how will the other person, because we know each other very well, would interpret it. So we have post-it. So those silent, I call it silent conversation, it's really the post-it doing like because of how we feel when we were diagnosed, because it was we just came back from Iceland on our trip, and then he just had a regular chiropractor thing, and then I just get a message that he's already in the ER. So there was no signs that he was sick. So that was really like it was like shock. And that, so the first 2 days when all of these tests were done, it was like there was silent, there was gratitude, but again we always talk, and then what if, and then he said like, I know it, what if. So then we started, so there's so many posts that also help me as I'm writing the book, go back to it and capture some of those moments.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful. So I want to talk about the title of your second book, Grace, Grief, and Gratitude. Um, that's quite a combination, those three. Grace, to me, the definition of grace is that it's given, right? It's given whether you're deserving of it or not. Like it's just given, as you don't have to work for it, you don't have to earn it. It's just something that's beautifully given.
Yeah.
So to you, how does grace, because this to me seems like a formula, like grace, grief, and gratitude, that the grace and the gratitude helps someone move through grief. Or maybe it's the other way around, that grief can be something that draws out gratitude and grace. What?
It's actually the first one that you said
Yeah.
because what made me write the second book is that when I was grieving, and I'm still grieving, but the first 2 years of grieving, as I shared already, I love journalizing. So I journal what emotions, what triggers, and this thing. And when I was doing my couple of authors talk with a love like ours, I shared one of the ladies asked me, can you explain more about the survival kit? So I explained it to her, how it looks like and everything. 6 months after, I did another author's talk 5 towns away from Harwich. And this woman came to the author's talk with her own three-hole binder survival kit. And she said to me, Michelle, really thank you. And that's the second reason why actually that I told you about honoring joy. But the second is that if my story would resonate one or three women that will help them, whether they're a caregiver or they're facing cancer themselves
Mm.
or lose someone already, either husband, or that to help with the transition with the feelings with the tools that I have, then I've done my place better than I found it. I could leave the place better than I found it. So when she showed me that, I said like, oh my God, it was like another it struck really a chord in my heart. And I said, this is what Jerry was talking about, that I'll be able to help and our legacy would continue. And Jerry's was so graceful with me during his cancer. And so I work from home at the time. He would stay at the basement so I could do my client call. So that's what I mean by grace, because I became the breadwinner again. He cannot work anymore because his memories and everything. So he
Mm.
stays up when he can. He would still make waffles for me. So those are the things that made me like made me so grateful, and with the grace that I have 2.5 years taking care of him,
Mm.
but in return, it's actually him taking care of me and making sure that I'm ready when he's gone. And
Mm.
when I say that too, because the we have this the moment that because may I always plan, like Jerry was even saying, if Michelle can plan her death, the time she would do it. And we have when this is like the time. So
Funny.
funny, but funny. So and I'm hopelessly romantic also. So when we were diagnosed, I said, oh, we should have this, that hand sculpting and like holding hands,
Oh
and
yeah. Uh-huh.
so we were forever gonna hold our hands. So we bought that 2 months after we were diagnosed, but nevertheless, it was not that, like, it was sitting on the garage ready to do it, right?
Mhm.
So I really remember it's September, third week of so July of 2021. That's when he stopped um, that chemo treatment. He decided that gone, I'm not gonna do, and he signed a do not resuscitate.
Mhm.
So when that day comes, I really remember, like, it's just really a matter of time now, because he's really like, and now that he signed the DNR, even if I want to, I really cannot, because he's in solid mind. He decided not to anymore. So I said, okay. I mean, it was really hard for me, but that's also the grace in my part, because when you love someone, you really, it will be selfish of me for to ask him fight just for me. So I said, okay, it was a hard decision. But at the end of September, she said that we need to call one of our dear friends. And I said, well, I said, like, well, I really want to have his margarita because he makes good margarita. And plus, we really need to do our our
Mm.
sculpture.
Mhm.
And I think he could sense it. That was like the last week of September. And I said, why? I said, and he said, like, I don't think I have it in me to stay longer. And he said, and I don't want to die in November because it's your birthday. And I don't want to die in December because it's Christmas. So it has to be in October. He really, and it's a flawless execution. And he even said that to us, because our friend that helped us with the sculpting and reading said his birthday is October 14. Jerry died October 12. And he said it has to be before of this thing. And it was so I mean, graceful and flawless thing. So we did our hand sculpting.
Mm.
And then at 10 8 that they were here from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. We had our Mexican, then we had margaritas, everything. We were dancing on the deck, having salsa, merengue, and all this stuff. And then they left, and Jerry was in the garage. He went back smoking. He said, like, my God, I'm gonna die, Michelle. I'm gonna smoke. So I said, okay, fine, smoke, whatever. I was smoking. So I said, and then he said, "Oh, go back upstairs," because at that time I was taking my French lesson already. So like, do your homework. You have a French class, and I said, "No, I'm just gonna," because we have our basement also has a living room, so has a TV and everything.
Mm,
And I said, "No, I'll just stay here. You do your French upstairs." But even with that one, even if he's at the basement, he always find his way back to me or I go back to him. So, but he never did. So I fall asleep watching TV Sang, and then I went downstairs, and he had a seizure.
mm,
So he was and he peed on his pants, and he
mm,
was looking at me and said, "Michelle," and then after that he stopped talking.
mm.
So I called um the good if you're in Cape and you have your both of you have cancer, you could call the cancer center. You have your doctor's direct number and stuff because you're one of a kind. So
Yeah.
that was kind of good. And so they came and that was it. And he had seizure. He never like a coma for 6 days, 8 days to be exact. And on the ninth day he passed away.
Mm,
And during those 9 days, I never left his side. And he it's a flow again flawless execution because he wants to die at home, and it was me, our four-legged son Spike,
mhm.
and we shared the last kiss together. So his last breath was with me. So I'm always humbled because how many couples can say that,
Yeah.
I always wanted to spend the rest of my life with him,
Mm.
and I'm humbled and grateful and beyond words that he's choose to spend the rest of his life with me.
Wow.
Oh, and that's where the grace, grief, and gratitude, and
Mm.
all the tools, all the exercises that help me navigate all those roller coaster emotions,
Yeah.
those first Christmas without him, first birthday, all those first, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I, I do that. So each of the chapter of the grace, grief, and gratitude, there is a reflection and also a gratitude exercise, so that hoping that it might be a different loss for them, right, that they
Yeah.
could through my tools maybe that could help them, and also find gratitude and find solace and look for and honor the memories that they shared with their parents or their spouse or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I just, it seems like you said, this whole feeling of that the cancer was this gift, that you got to experience. I mean, of course, nobody wants cancer, but I remember when my mother went through cancer, yes, it was extremely difficult, but I remember her words are like, but it was such a gift.
Yeah,
I learned so much about life and people, and just, for her, it was kind of like a spiritual awakening in some ways. So, um, there really is in life, I think, in death and life, death and birth, there's there is so much grace and there is so much beauty and there is so much to be grateful for if we're present, right?
yeah, yeah.
If we're present, because it's so easy to take things for granted, to not be paying attention, to miss the moment until it's too late.
Exactly. And that's what cancer really, the biggest gift that cancer gives to us, it's really to be present because and it also brings back the inner child in both him and I.
Mm,
Because I mean, we have that, the fun and being present, right? But responsibility, adult life, mortgage, work gets into the way. I mean, that's reality.
yeah,
But when you really have that, and then it really makes you also think that all of what's really important, and all this things that kind of your pit fib or like, like grab you in the wrong way, like, does it really matter if you really take in a grand scheme of things, right? If you count like 1 to
True.
10
It's
or
all
so.
right. Don't sweat the small stuff. It's all small stuff. Like it's kind of,
Exactly. And it's like it
yeah,
really is so why. So and up to now I'm carrying that. So I even said like, what, cancer really would change in different perspective to me. Like I really take time, like I really take lunch break now, like kind of a French culture that really sit down and not like eat and watching your computer having yogurt or
yeah,
something.
yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
it, it, yeah, it takes me time to really smell the rose and get vitamin D, go outside and really and it all and the other thing also that cancer, because we're so attached with our phones, right, or our gadgets like things, and no, we really have and time to really like, okay, we have time out for technology or time out for social media. So we really and being really present and having this, when growing up when we don't have that cell phone yet and having this conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Beautiful.
Now I'm dating myself.
You're dating yourself. Well, yeah. So, I mean, so talk a little bit about, after and the way forward. So you're 50 now?
Yeah,
51? 50?
I'm 50 still, going on 51 of 50. I just
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So we're we're about the same age. You have, you're at midlife, right? So it's you still have a whole nother who knows how many years, of course,
mm,
but
yeah.
it could be decades. And so how do you now, it's almost like you said, dating yourself. Do you find, that you're now that your husband's gone, that you're in this process of rediscovering who you are, or how does that feel like now for you moving
It's
forward in your life?
it's really rediscovering who I am and getting some of my friends call it to Michelle 2.0 or simply
Oh,
Michelle,
yeah.
because I was married. I mean, I'm 23, I'm 50, right? So I was with Jerry. We were married for 23 years, together for 25. So I've known him and my younger days. So I look at it like I was a daughter, a granddaughter, a girlfriend, a wife. Then I became a caregiver, a cancer patient, and a widow in that game of things. And no
Wow,
one
yeah.
prepares you. Yeah, and no one prepares you to be a widow at age 45 or 45 and a
Right.
half. Or, yeah, so it was a big thing. So I'm rediscovering the things that I didn't know that I could do. And that, like opening the garage.
Uh-huh.
Starting the fire. I'm learning to be more self-reliant,
Yeah.
self-reliant. But in the other thing also, I'm also rediscovering the passion of learning other languages again. I'm also rediscovering that it's okay. I mean, because before, like it's really okay. Don't lose your inner self. Don't lose your voice. It's so be really authentic. And when we moved here from Philippines back to US, we like you kind of sometimes your environment kind of influence you, and you don't lose your identity, but you kind of emerge a little bit or something for the immersion. But it's really okay to be authentic. So I can, that's what I mean by recovering myself or reclaiming
Rec-
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, reclaiming myself and in a way reinventing as well, because as again, I was for all of my adult life I was married, and then all of a sudden now, so who is Michelle? What gonna be Michelle 2.0
Mm.
looks like? And so Michelle 2.0 is someone, as I said in my book, is someone that will keep up with friends, making sure and connecting, creating memories with friends, traveling. But Michelle 2.0 or Michelle, someone now with a mission that will help individuals who are in my situation or who were in my situation, to help them with their grief, with their loss. Through I do like coaching. I do some authors event where I hand out the I have my because I also have like finding gratitude through grieving. So I have that workshop also that I shared, so that
Mhm.
um, helping them move on with clarity and resilience, and also a personal growth.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. So wonderful. So on your website, is that where people can go to learn about what you have to offer and get your book and yeah,
Yes.
work with you? Yeah.
So in my website, they could get my book, they could see my upcoming events, and also the past events that I had. I also in my website also they could go to my YouTube channel, which is the Gratitude Journey with Michelle, where I show some gratitude practice that I put in. There's some course in the website right now. I'm doing the transformational coaching, and it's really different from traditional coaching, because again it's really based on my experience, the being a caregiver, being a cancer patient and a widow. So it's really more hands-on from experience, and the tools, it's more in-depth than what's in the grace, grief and gratitude in each chapter.
Mhm.
So you could do a discovery call and see for a great fit. So that's what I'm doing, and helping others. Any proceeds that I get from the book or the coaching, I support some
Mhm.
non-profit organizations. So part of it will go there, and doing my part, also giving back and paying it forward.
Michelle, this I am just so touched by you. Like you're so bright and so joyful and just you're a hoot. You're really funny, you know. And I just love your spirit. It's just I
Yeah,
feel so really just blessed to be able to sit here and listen to your story. I mean, it really it's very moving and very inspiring and definitely um eye-opening, you know, for the rest of us to not take things for granted and that life really is a gift. And as is death, you know, really. Because without it we forget about how precious life is. So, you know,
exactly.
yeah, anyway.
You, Tanya.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michelle. And to our listeners and viewers, please like, share, and subscribe. Check Michelle out at c'est moi, michelleferguson.com. And thanks again so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you again, Michelle.
Thank you, Tanya. Have a great evening. Have a great day.
Yeah, bye.